Hey folks, our friend Paul Mashatile is at again, the Deputy President of South Africa, and a senior officer in the senior member of the African National Congress says he's ashamed, well, he said he would be ashamed if he were a member of the Democratic Alliance having voted against the budget, showing up for work. How could you show up for work when you vote against the budget you're supposed to implement? Well, that's asinine to say the least. Number one, he has no shame whatsoever living in multi-million-dollar mansions in the Western Cape and in Gauteng, mansions for which he has no means whatsoever to pay for them. How are you living in these luxurious mansions when most South Africans don't have electricity or paved roads and are living in shacks? But you have no shame. And besides, you have no shame living in a place you have no means to pay for. Who provided those houses? Was it your son-in-law? Did you steal? He has no shame. So it's kind of hypocritical to hear from Paul Mashatile talking about the DA having no shame about having voted against the budget. That's the first problem. The second problem is that in a country like South Africa, the system's all screwed up. Members of parliament become cabinet ministers instead of just members of parliament. In America, in our system, if you're a member of Congress, you don't become a cabinet minister. If you do become a cabinet secretary, you leave that position. It becomes vacant and someone else fills it in a special election or by appointment. But the people who work for the president are not also members of Congress. That's a clear conflict of executive and legislative branches. You see the problem here? Conflating the two. And that's one of the major problems in South Africa. So let's deal with that. South Africa needs to come up with a better system instead of its parliamentary system, because it simply doesn't work. But I'm surprised that Mashatile is ashamed. He should be ashamed of himself. But he was speaking at the first annual Ahmed Kathrada Legacy Business Breakfast in Lovu, in Gauteng, and he talked about this. Now, aside from being disparaging about the budget and the Democratic Alliance, he's also opaque about his unexplained wealth, and that should trouble people. That should trouble people. Now, Paul Mashatile is also clueless about coalitions, having stated several things that make no sense whatsoever at this breakfast. He said that the fate of the Democratic Alliance is in the hands of the National Working Group, the NWC, of the ANC. No, it's not. No, it's not. The ANC and the DA met. They reached an agreement in principle to form a coalition, the two of them. Then he claims that the ANC is going to approach other members of GNU to decide the fate of the Freedom Front Plus and the DA because they voted against the budget. No, you're not. No, you're not. The agreement wasn't between the 10 parties. It was between the DA and the ANC. The ANC has no ability whatsoever to kick the DA out of the government of national unity. And by the same token, the DA has no ability to kick the ANC out. Now, if the ANC wants to leave the coalition, then leave it. Leave it. Start another coalition. But you have no say about whether the DA is in or not. This guy's completely clueless and dishonest. Oh, my goodness. Now, he made some really other interesting comments. He says, we never depended on the DA for anything. Well, that's an outright lie. Ramaphosa would not be president were it not for the DA's 87 members of parliament voting for him to be president. Wouldn't have made it. With MK and EFF and smaller party opposition, he never would have made it. And without the DA, he certainly wouldn't have made it. So that's a lie. You did depend on the DA to get your president elected. So Paul Mashatile, stop lying to South Africans. He also said, we invited them like all other parties. That's simply not true. You did invite them. They sat down, Fikile Mabalula and Helen Zille, and they worked out an agreement principle. What they failed to do was write up a statement of terms and conditions and arbitration for disputes in the parties. So you didn't invite them, you dumbass. They invited you, Paul Mashatile. And as I said, he claimed that the ANC will now engage with the other members of the government of national unity to decide the fate of the DA and the Freedom Front Plus. No, you won't. No, you won't. You have no say in that whatsoever. This guy is about as dumb as a doorbell. Let me tell you something, President Ramaphosa. I don't know what he has on you. I don't know what the hold of Paul Mashatile is, just like Ace Magashule was for a long time. But it's time to jettison this guy. He's beyond deadwood. He says things that are beyond stupid every single day. He's got no common sense. He's got no filter. He's like Ibrahim Rasool, the last guy you want in the room in the job he's currently in. Now, clearly, Paul Mashatile is in the news every day now because he's jockeying to replace Ramaphosa as the next president of the African National Congress. And God forbid that's what happens for South Africa. You're all screwed. You think things are bad now. This guy can't walk and chew gum, let alone make decisions about policy. He's also the one that thinks Bella's going to stay, expropriation is going to stay without compensation. Now, these things are the death of South Africa as we know it. They impinge on the rights of black, brown, and white South Africans, Christians, Muslims, Jews, just alike. Straight, gay, trans, doesn't matter. It all oppresses you. And that's the intent. Look what's happened. They've now eliminated local school board control, forcing people to learn in English, even though only 6% of South Africans speak English. Now they're going to take property. Oh, it's just going to be disused land. No, it's not going to be disused land. It's going to be buildings in Joburg that they want. Yeah. And now they want to take the guns away from private security. They disbanded the commandos. They tried to take guns away from citizens. A couple times they failed, but they had some success. And now they're going to ban private security from having firearms. So the only people that have firearms would be the state and the criminals. That's not a good outcome. So Paul Mashatile, it's time to take the golden parachute and walk away, because you are the weakest link.